The Detroit Lions have done something we haven't seen yet this year. They just won in a shootout against the Green Bay Packers. You've got to be kidding me right now. We are here live right after the game, whether you're watching it with us live or whether you're watching the cut up video afterward. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the spot that we want you to be at, your go-to place for Detroit Lions football. And what an awesome time to believe that we were able to come up huge with this victory, with a defense that was absolutely decimated. And you could see it in the first half. Aaron Glenn, you got to tip your hat to him. He had such a good game plan going into this one. The first half was absolutely remarkable, but then in the second half, you got to see the Green Bay Packers. They started flexing their muscles offensively. They started realizing like they are not going to be able to get pressure on us unless they are blitzing, and then they knew exactly what to do with it. But what we ended up being able to do was we found a way to win in an absolute shootout in this one. We beat the Green Bay Packers. We'll get the box score up here in a second, but just such a good game, 34-31. Just honestly, absolute beauty. This is a team that looked tired. I don't know if you noticed that. This Detroit Lions team looked tired, and dang it, they should be tired. They had a game on Sunday, all right? Not this Sunday, but the Sunday before, then a game Thursday, and now another game Thursday. It's a game, and it's 3 games in 11 days. And that's not easy to do, especially when you have the amount of injuries that we have. When you have Pat O'Connell or whoever he is playing defensive tackle on like what seemed like 100% of the snaps. That's not what you're supposed to be able to do. And in this game, Aleem McNeil gets hurt early and you don't even have him. And yes, Jacobs had 3 touchdowns, but you know what else? He carried the ball 18 times for only 66 yards. Even without all of our best defensive linemen in, 18 times for 66 yards. That's just over 3 yards per carry. That is not great. As we continue to look at this and we continue to look at what's going on, Jordan Love only was able to throw the ball 20 times. They didn't even have 300 total yards of offense. Meanwhile, the Lions, who just flat out couldn't quite get it going on the ground today, the Green Bay Packers said, we are going to completely fill the box. We're going to fill the box, and we're going to make Jared Goff beat us. And you know what? We're going to put pressure on Jared Goff too. And Jared Goff in this game said, don't care. I'm the man. All right, this is the kind of game where, yes, MVPs are made. Because Jared Goff in this game, yes, he had the bad interception. I understand that. But at the exact same time, he was cool as ice, completing his last 13 completions. And on the final drive, when you have a holding penalty against Ragnow, questionable. I do think you couldn't see it. His left hand was on the back plate. Then he hits a 15-yarder to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I still think that was a first down, by the way. But you look at what's going on here. They couldn't move the ball well on the ground, the Green Bay Packers. Neither could the Lions. But neither team gave up on the ground. The Packers got chunk plays. The Lions were more methodical. And usually when you see that and you see the Lions run 41, they have 41 pass attempts with 34 rushing attempts, right? That is 75 total plays to Green Bay's 44. The idea behind that on Green Bay is we're going to force turnovers. Yet we had a turnover and they had a turnover. And that is the type of thing that you see with this team that I am just sometimes absolutely blown away. When you look at this, the other things that you can see, we outgained them total yardage by almost 100 yards, total plays by 31 plays. Let's look at the time of possession. Absolutely dominated the time of possession. This is exactly what we needed to do when you have a defense that couldn't be there. Because Green Bay, with only 24 minutes total time of possession, Green Bay with only, what did I say? 45 total plays run, were still able to put up 31 points. They were still able to put up 31 points. But what we need to talk about, and what we need to talk about, was just the guts, just the amazing stones of Dan Campbell. You can sit here and say it's smart. You can say it's dumb. You can say it's dumb to go for it on 4th and 1 on your own 31. Maybe it was, and it gave them 7 points. You can say it was smart or dumb to go for it on 4th down just to be able to run out the clock so you don't give them the ball with 40 seconds left. But we get a first down and game's over. No drama. No, do we play a prevent defense? How do we keep them away from getting a field goal? Our defense was getting burned. And even though they had only been on the field for like 24 minutes, they were gassed because they have a bunch of guys that are not used to playing multiple plays, multiple snaps in a game. And oh my goodness, Dan Campbell reads the team. If you have our normal allotment of starters in there, all right, if Brian Branch and Aleem McNeil, the 2 best starters that are left on this team, don't get hurt and are unavailable, then maybe he just kicks the field goal and gives the ball back to the Packers with 40 seconds left. But that's not the situation. The situation was we had our only starters on the field were Kirby Joseph, Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, and Jack Campbell. Those are our only 4 starters that are still left from the beginning of the year on the field. And that defense, I don't know if it was up to the task. So what Dan Campbell says is, hey, it's going to be a shootout. I want the ball in our hands last. You know, it's interesting. I was listening to Colin Cowherd today when I was in the car, and he was on his show. He was asked to say, who do you have in this one? And he wouldn't pick a team. He said, whoever has the ball last, and they win by 3. Like, I'll take the points. And Dan Campbell said, I want the ball last. And that's what he did. And he said, I'm willing to deal with the consequences. And now what we've done is we have clinched the playoffs. We have put the Packers in the rearview mirror. All right. They are no longer a threat in the NFC North for our title chances. It is between us and the Minnesota Vikings now. And we play them in the last game of the season. We have put the Packers in the rearview mirror. We have swept them. So even if they win out and we only win one more game, all right, we still would win the division over them. And that is what we did. We said, nope, we got this. We are going for it. So let me ask you guys a couple of questions. I see the comments rolling in. Who gets game balls? Who gets game balls? What does that look like for all of you? I'm going to go offense and defense and special teams. I'm going to go a couple game balls here. And on the offensive side of things, for me, it has to be Jared Goff. It must be Jared Goff. And I think the reason for me is because, you know, and by the way, I see these comments rolling in for Tim Patrick too. Totally get it. The dude balled out. But here's the reason I'm going to go ahead and give it to Goff. And I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna share my screen with everybody here real quick. All right. When I look at the wide receivers, all right, Jameson Williams on 8 targets had 5 catches, 80 yards. Laporta, 5 catches, 54 yards. Tim Patrick, 6 catches, 43 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 catches, 43 yards. David Montgomery, 5 catches, 33 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 6 catches, 30 yards. I have never in my life seen, I've never in my life seen a box score like that for wide receivers. When you have a completed pass to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, that's good. But when every single one of those players has 5 or 6 catches, that's amazing. And that's when you know that it's Jared Goff as the absolute monster that's running things. All right. There's games where we've talked about Sewell. There's games where we've there's games where we've talked about Sewell. There's games where we've talked about Montgomery, St. Brown. I think the only player to me that actually stands out in this one when the running game wasn't going is Goff. All right. Dwayne, thank you. Thank you so much. I will accept that. I'm assuming you're talking to me. That's awesome. So, and you're right. It was absolutely good balance. All right. What about on the defensive side? And yes, Goff for president. All right. I'm with you. So on the defensive side, this is interesting to me because I could give this to a number of players. If you're going to ask Kirk Herbstreit, he's going to say it's Pat O'Connor. Like there's no doubt it's Pat O'Connor. I thought he was fantastic. I thought El-Quadin Muhammad was fantastic. I thought he got multiple pressures. You know me. I love giving game balls to guys like Jack Campbell. I really, really do. But I'm gonna go off the wall on this one. And it's very, very interesting. I'm gonna go. I don't want to get yelled at for this one, but I'm gonna go. Yes, Pat O'Connor, but I'm also gonna go with Ezekiel Turner. I'm going to go with Ezekiel Turner. He had a clutch tackle against Jordan Love at the end of the game that ended their final drive. He was able to get consistent pressure in the first half, which is fantastic. So it's really fun to see. But here's the thing. I just want you to think about something here for a second. The Lions are 12-1. They have clinched the playoffs. We are going to the playoffs. We have as many wins as we did last year. Just know that right now already. 13 games in. The Lions are 12-1. We're talking about game balls over division rival and very good football team in the Green Bay Packers. And we just said we were just arguing on who gets the game ball between Ezekiel Turner and Pat O'Connor. Just think about that. Just think about that. Are you kidding me right now? And the other players up for consideration were Jack Campbell. Obviously, Brian Branch was in consideration. Zadarius Smith is in consideration. He had a sack today. All right. I believe the lone sack that this team had. All right. And then obviously special teams, you're going to give it to Bates, right? You're going to give it to Jake Bates. All right. So here's the deal. We just got to win. There are the comments are kind of intense right now. All right, let's just be happy together. Let's be happy. Detroit Lions get that victory. But wow. And you are right, Sean. Jack Campbell has been phenomenal for a month. Like one of the better middle linebackers in the league. He's been everywhere. And here's the thing for middle linebackers, and here's the sign of a great middle linebacker. Sometimes you have middle linebackers where they're playing in a great system. They're playing in a great scheme, and they have great defensive tackles in front of them. So, yeah, it's easy for Jack Campbell to look good when he has Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader in front of him. But what about when he has Pat O'Connor and whoever the heck else is up there? Maybe it's Broderick Martin, right? Maybe it's Jonah Williams. Maybe it's Miles Adams. Do you know any of these names? These are guys that were playing defensive tackle for us. And Jack Campbell was still finding a way to stuff the hole when it comes to the running game. He was still finding a way to get tackles. He had 8 tackles in this game, which is a really big number when you think about how few plays were run. 45 plays were run by this team. 4 of those plays ended in touchdowns. So that means, and some went out of bounds, but that means that Campbell had roughly a fifth of the tackles for this team. This team had a total of 43 tackles, it's saying, which I don't fully understand. If you run 45 plays and 4 of them are touchdowns, I don't understand how there's 43 tackles, but it's only 26 solo. So, and so like there is a world for that, but 43 tackles, he had 8 of them. He had a fifth of the tackles. That's really, really good defense. All right. What else stood out to you? And what is your confidence level at right now for this team? Are you sitting here saying, hey, we're not going to lose another game this season? Or are you sitting here saying like, all right, we need this extra break. We need this extra rest because we're going up against the Buffalo Bills. And here's the truth. We're still banged up. We're still banged up, and they are on a tear right now. Josh Allen is playing out of his mind. The defense is playing out of their mind. And here's the thing as we look forward into next week, and then this is one of the things that I'll talk to all of you guys about. The Buffalo Bills defense, what they like to do is they try and stop the run, and they like to keep everything in front of you in the passing game. So a lot of short passing, just taking the check downs, taking what they give you. Amon-Ra St. Brown can be an absolute monster in this game in the slot. I would look for Montgomery and Gibbs to get a ton of catches underneath. And the Lions just take what the Bills give them and nickel and dime them all the way down the field. The question is, can we keep hold of it and don't go for it? All right. It's been good. It's exciting. And as we watch games like this, I'm blown away. I truly am. I'm blown away at how clutch Jared Goff was in this game. The offensive line, the run blocking was awful. It was really bad. Montgomery and Gibbs had nowhere to go. And when you know you can't run the ball, when the other team knows you can't run the ball, I'm going to go with 2 points off of this. It is remarkable to me that Jared Goff was still able to be as efficient as he was. Yeah. It's nuts. All right. So, and anyways, yeah, I'm just, all right. You know what? You're going in timeout, new. All right. You're going in timeout. You've been naughty. All right. You're hitting comments like crazy down here. All right. You're in timeout. All right. That's the way that's going to go. For sure. Right. Dan is a crazy man. What did he go for? 5 times? He was successful on 4 of them, and kind of go from there. Here's Carrie. I don't know the answer to this question on is Brian Branch hurt. Here's what I do know. All right. Here's what I do know. He was able to walk off on his own power. He was trying to kind of stretch it out as he was walking. It looks like a cramp to me. He's had a long history of cramps. He really, really has. And that in Alabama, at Detroit, and when he was playing nickel, he would cramp almost every game last year. So I think we're gonna be there. All right. Okay. This is good. All right, Danny, I like this. You said off topic, but Terrion Arnold will be a top 5 corner next year. All right. Who's with him? All right. I can see it. I mean, at least top 10 to me is a safe bet. I don't think that I realized how good, I mean, truly how good Terrion Arnold was until he was out for a game or two. And this secondary, Vildor just getting torched, right? When Davis was out and Terrion Arnold was in, we didn't miss Davis a ton. Like the defense still played well. Last week it was really, really good. But when Terrion Arnold was out, we were in some serious issues. And I understand the guy gets pass interference calls and things like that. He's not getting them at as high of a clip, but that's because he's in sticky coverage. That's just who he is. And I agree. I think he's going to be a very, very good cornerback in this league. I'm excited to see what he can be. I'm excited to see what Rakestraw can be next year. I'm excited to see that. There's another one up here, and I'm going to talk about it. I can't find it. I heard somebody say the Bills game doesn't matter. Here's the problem with that philosophy, and here's the problem with why the Bills game doesn't matter. I don't agree with it. All right, and that is the overall playoff picture. All right, remember in the playoffs, only one team. Isn't it look good though? By the way, we're clinched. All right. And we would have clinched earlier at 11-1. If we were in the AFC, we would have clinched 2 weeks ago. The problem is the Commanders are just keep winning. Well, they don't keep winning. They won last week. The worst team in the NFC right now is 5 losses. It's nuts. At 9-4, that's a very good record. The Packers are the 6th seed. And yes, you have a couple of teams that are one is 7-5, one is 6-6, but they're division winners. So here's the reason the Bills game matters. It matters because we got the Eagles like just nipping at our heels. Now we have a good record inside the division, so when you look at tie-breaking procedures, this is kind of interesting. First, it's head-to-head. We didn't play the Eagles this year. All right. Best one-loss tied percentage in games played within the division. So I don't know if they played the Buccaneers. I don't remember. But I know there were a lot of other games that they played. So that's what we need to look at within the division. We're not in the same division. So then it goes to number 3. I'll show you guys this. Best one loss or tied percentage in common games. That's what the tiebreaker is going to be on this. So I haven't done enough look at that. And if we have the same record, it goes best one loss tied percentage in games played within the same conference. All right. So that is going to be what it is in one of these. It's not going to be point spread or anything like that, which, by the way, I think it should. I really do. Common opponents, point spread. It should go to record and then point spread. I think that should be there, but it's not, and that's okay. It's there. All right. So, Robert, I'm going to take your word for it. Philly lost to Tampa Bay. That's huge. So that means against common opponents, we're probably going to have a better record because I don't know who their other loss was, but I can find it. All right. Let's find it right now. And let's see. Their second loss was to the Falcons. All right. So right now we hold the edge in conference win-loss, which is what the tiebreaker is going to be. The reason the Bills games matter, though, I mean, it doesn't matter when it comes to the tie-breaking procedures. It really doesn't. The Bears, 49ers, and Vikings games are what's going to matter when it comes to that. So you are right. The best team to lose to down the stretch is the Bills. Plain and simple. But you got to beat the other 3. And in case you're wondering, Philly down the stretch has the Panthers. I think they'll be okay in that game. They have Pittsburgh. That's a tough one. All right. They go to Washington. They have Dallas and they have New York. It's not a super tough schedule. They have one really good team and one pretty good team on that schedule. The Lions have 2 really good teams on their schedule left. And I'm going to count really good teams as the Bills and, yes, the Vikings. I think the Vikings are good. And if you remember, they played us tough. And I said at the beginning of this live that, like, the Lions did something we haven't seen them do yet this year, and that's win a shootout. We kind of want to shoot out against the Vikings too. But this one was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So much fun to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, the Detroit Lions, your Detroit Lions, are 12-1. 11-1 was the best start in franchise history. 12-1 is definitely the best start. They're 12-1. This is a team that's going to go for the best record in Lions history. Your Detroit Lions have won 11 games in a row. And it's weird. And I keep saying this every single year. Every single year. I don't, or not every single year, every single week. Just enjoy it. All right. Just enjoy the wins. Enjoy this time while the Lions are playing well, because it's the NFL. It's a league of parity. It's a league where everything's equal, and this isn't going to continue to happen. It's no team can repeatedly go 12-1 every single year. This is a special year. It doesn't mean it has to be the year we win the Super Bowl. You can win the Super Bowl without just dominating the regular season, but it's fun to watch this. And now the question, what I want everybody to watch for the next 3-4 days, injuries aren't going to come in here. We're just going to talk about different stuff. But to me, what we're going to be looking for as practices start kicking back up on Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The questions we're going to be looking at is, how healthy can we get on that defensive front? Can we get like half of these guys back? All right. Where's Onwuzurike at? Is Aleem McNeil? It's not a concussion. All right. But it's a head injury. I don't know if it's a neck thing. I don't know what it is. Is he going to be ready to go? Like, is DJ Reader with his shoulder going to be ready to go? Like, there's so many injuries on that defensive line. Can we start getting some of these interior defensive linemen back? What does that look like? And we just need 1 or 2 of them, because truly O'Connor has proven like he's good enough. He really is. And he's playing really, really well. So overall, as I'm about to get out of here, I would say that it was really, really overall really impressive in what they did. Yeah, really, really impressive. I don't know how we won this game. 13 players on IR. Green Bay's got a couple. I mean, they were without Jair Alexander in this game. And we were without, and I was doing the math. We talked about it. I put out a video yesterday. 10 of our 12 rotation players in our front seven. 10 of 12. And then we lost the 11th in Aleem McNeil early in the game, and we won the game. I'm just going to be honest. With the injuries that we had no business winning that game. This is a really stinking good football team. All right. Reese, thank you so much. Appreciate the super chat. So you're getting on here. If you're going to make a donation, you're going to get on here. All right. Too many missed sacks. I've seen so many almost sacks where the defenders hit the QB in their hands and they slip out and don't go down in throws. You're right. Jack Campbell had one of those too. And I would like to say that this is one of those things where it's this team because of all the injuries, but this has been the bugaboo for the Lions for quite some time, is they struggle getting the quarterback to the ground. So, yeah, Danny, you said it best. All right. Happy dub. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Get some good sleep. Go to work tomorrow. Celebrate with coworkers. If you work with a Packers fan, and I'm in West Michigan, I'm on the west side, so a lot of Bears fans, a lot of Packers fans over here, make sure you let them know we run the North. The North goes through Detroit, and it has for the last couple of years. You just remind them of that, and you tell them, you ask them, remember who your daddy is. All right, because it hasn't been that close for the last 4 years. The Lions have been dominant in this rivalry. I'm not going to talk about the 30 years before that, but the last 3 or 4 years, go Lions. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good seeing y'all. And look for more content coming out every single day. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Love having you here. See you.